You can't just murder people, bro. The fact that you have gone so far down the pipeline that you are like justifying just murdering people like this is part of my issue. Is that he is radicalizing people to be okay with this sort of stuff. All right, so what's up?
Awesome. Great. So I just hear generally some discontent from on your end regarding Donald Trump. Is that right? Do you believe that he's just not doing a good job?
Yeah, I definitely don't think he's doing a good job.
All right. Because just from the outside looking in here, I mean, to me, it looks like he's got all of our greatest enemies on their heels. He's projecting power all over the world. I don't understand. What's the problem?
He doesn't. He's been working with Russia. He's been working with Iran. He's well, I guess I say working with Iran. Obviously, not more recently. But our biggest enemies have generally been South Korea, Iran, China, and Russia. And he's been buddy with Russia lately. If we look at like all of the dictators in the fucking world right now, those are all of his best buddies, is Netanyahu and Putin, Trump. He talks about the fact that he has a lot of respect for Kim Jong-un, I think is who's in there now. So
yeah, that's North Korea, not South Korea.
Or sorry, yeah, North Korea. Sorry,
mistake, but yeah. Well, regarding Russia, like he was trying to get him to come to terms with peace, but when it didn't work the last couple of weeks, I don't know how updated you are on what's going on in the war, but ever since he got the feeling that Putin was just playing him and stringing him along, he said, okay, now U.S. is going to be sharing intelligence with Ukraine going forward. And this made a huge difference because the last couple of weeks, Russia has been completely falling apart at the seams with Ukraine hitting with brand new tactics on their major infrastructure, or especially their energy oil refineries. And it's just been super effective. Like it's completely turned the entire war around. Russia is pretty much lost at this point. So things are going really well. I don't understand what's the problem.
There's no shot you think Russia's lost at this point. There has not been that big of a difference. So over the last couple of weeks with Russia, Ukraine, Russia has not lost at this point. They're still holding all of the same territories that they were before.
No, they've been getting pushed back quite a bit, and their war of attrition that they thought they can hold out and just continue battering over time is actually not working at all. There's been a total reversal just in the last week or two. It's really interesting, actually, because the new tactics are very asymmetrical, and Ukraine just they got the experience, and now with the U.S. intelligence backing and the pressure of adding the Tomahawk missiles, I don't see how Trump wanted them to come around. That's just his style, like compliment them a little bit, bring them around, try to court them, but it didn't work. So the last 2 weeks has been completely a totally different turn of the tide, and he went with Plan B since then.
So when I Google the term Russia losing ground, there's one outlet that has put out anything remotely close to that, and it's someone called the National Security Journal. I've never even heard of this website.
Well, we'll see. It's been back and forth swings. Russia has not made any gains, and where Ukraine does strategic withdrawals and then counterattacks. But if you look at just the actual economics of Russia continuing a war of attrition, it has collapsed. Like their economy is tanking. There's no doubt about it. Their oil refineries have been getting slammed, and they got these new tactics where they'll swarm with drones, and they're going through Kazakhstan's airspace as well, deep into the center of Russia. You know,
Yeah, I
over
saw that they
like
had
1,000 miles away.
they had like a couple of good hits. You say within the last couple of weeks, like the most of the stuff that they did like a couple months ago, where they had a bunch of drones come out of the truck bed and then hit like an entire
Mm.
air base.
No,
Um,
it's totally escalated in the last week. Just, I mean, if you really take some time to look at the most updated stuff, it's gone. Compared to that, I mean, this is like a total sweeping turnaround. They've hit just
okay,
recently hit
so
some of the most major
what's
infrastructures. They're causing blackouts in
just
Moscow.
just for a
You know,
second,
you got to look into that.
even if I pretended that these things were true, okay, I don't think that there's like uh some major support that Ukraine is going to get from Trump that they weren't going to get from the Biden administration. And I don't think that I don't think that there's going to be some major turnaround with our enemies when, especially with the way that Trump came into the to office in the beginning, like kind of giving them a lot of credibility. That there's that is not a great point that eventually he got on board with like American values. The
Yeah, but
major
what about in his
issues.
first term when he did way more arming of Ukraine and support
Hold
than
on a second.
Obama ever did, for example?
The major that okay,
Before the war.
I'm sorry. I'm not even going to get into that because that's not really true. The Congress congressionally approved aid, which with a Democrat majority, and Donald Trump at one point tried to withhold that aid and tried to get them to investigate Joe Biden instead, and said that he needed dirt on Joe Biden in order for them to get their aid. So that's not really true. But the point that I was trying to get to is that those are not the major like issues that I would have with Trump anyways. Like if you're going to come in here and just tell me things that you think Trump is doing good on, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that those are the things that I have issues with Trump on.
Oh, well, let's talk about foreign policy though for a second, because there's so much going on. What about Venezuela?
What about it? He just bombed
I
a
mean,
couple of
he's
fucking
projecting
boats that
power onto
seems to
them.
have
I'm sorry. I'm
what
sorry. Go ahead.
he just bombed a couple of boats that seemingly had no evidence that they were doing anything wrong. And even if they did have drugs, you can't bomb boats out in the middle of the ocean like that for drugs. You're not allowed to just
Yeah, but
kill people
he,
over
he,
having
he
drugs.
yeah, but it sends a message. You know, it's stopping their boats before they enter our space by projecting power. He's actually doing a preventative measure in deterrence, and he has an entire naval battalion parked right outside their country, ready to regime change them at any moment.
Are you okay with like Antifa burning down a bunch of buildings?
No, they're rioters.
Well, but why does that matter? Like if they're projecting power and they're able to kind of
Oh, well, because it's not legitimate state power. They're just rioters.
what do you mean it's not legitimate state power if they're burning down a bunch of buildings over time?
Okay, is Antifa? What does Antifa? Who do they represent? They're not representing a state, are they?
No.
They're just rioters. They're a
Yeah,
terrorist group.
hold on. When you say yes, but that Donald Trump does not represent me, and I don't want him
Yeah.
breaking laws and just
He
killing
represents
people.
the country, the state.
Sure,
He
but he
represents
doesn't.
state
Sure, sure,
power.
sure. He's supposed to. He's supposed to, but him breaking laws, being a criminal, and just murdering people out in the middle of the ocean, that is not the type of power that the United States is supposed to project. We are supposed to be a moral country with values. We are not supposed to be just a bunch of murderous thugs that go out killing people just cuz.
I don't think it's just cause this. Do you think it was out of nowhere? Like he's
You
just doing
just
it for
said
no
that he's
reason?
doing it to project power. It doesn't matter what the reason is. If
Onto
you don't,
onto
you
our
can't just
enemies.
murder people.
Project power. Yeah, project power onto our enemies. And why are they our enemy?
That again,
Because
you
they
can't just murder people, bro.
aggressively.
The fact that you have gone so far down the fucking
Huh.
pipeline that you are like justifying just murdering people like this is part of my issue, is
No,
that
no,
he
no,
is
no.
radicalizing
It's not.
people to
It's
be
not.
okay with this
No,
sort
it's
of
not.
stuff.
No, it's not murder. This is actually. Uh, he's declared the gangs of Venezuela terrorists.
Okay.
So they are not actually like they're actually considered legal combatants.
Well, no, just calling somebody a terrorist does not make them a legal combatant. Even if somebody is a terrorist,
No, it's illegal. It's not just calling them; it's a legal status that they've gained.
yes, and
It's
I'm saying
official.
I'm saying that doesn't give them the right to just kill them. Like they generally,
Legally, it does.
no, it doesn't. Where do you get that from? What statute says that
You
you can
can
just kill
they're,
somebody
they're,
if you
okay
call them a terrorist?
if they're if they have the status of terrorist, there's no borders. This is a borderless criminal that you can track to the ends of the earth, and you have the legal right to eliminate them.
Where do you get this from? This it's literally a war crime. Like the to just kill people in international waters like that who have no threat to you or your people, that is illegal. That is against the law. You are defending people breaking the law.
Well, he has a legal basis for it. He's not
What
just
is the
saying like,
legal
"Oh yeah, I'm going
basis?
out doing something illegal."
I don't believe this. This is not, nobody has ever said that you can just call somebody a terrorist and now you get to murder them.
He doesn't just call them the terrorists. This is something that an actual legal status that they've gained,
When you say that, though,
and you
there
can
isn't like real
track. Yeah,
criteria for that. The term terrorist has always meant people who are engaging in political violence to put other people in fear. Donald Trump is just calling them terrorists. The people on the boat, if they were like, let's just assume, let's pretend for a moment that they actually had drugs. That doesn't mean that they're actually coming in to harm people. One. Two, we don't even know that they were coming to our country. Three, one of the boats that he blew up was turning around and going back to Venezuela. It wasn't even heading towards our country anymore, and they still blew it up. So you can't just like name a group, a terrorist group, and then blow them up, and then say, oh well, it's okay now. I called them terrorists.
a gang that is doing terrorist acts. You can absolutely,
What?
and he
Okay.
has.
What?
He did.
What
I
gang?
mean, when you say you
What
can, then
gang
he
were
did.
they part
So what are
of?
you talking about?
What gang are they part of?
In Venezuela was the. I remember it in English. The Spanish name escapes me. It was like the Empire of the Sun, something like that. And Maduro himself is the leader of this actual gang. So it's a literal narco state, just like Bashar al-Assad's narco state in Syria. That they run the entire country based on profits from the state-run gang that is shipping these illegal drugs and narcotics, and the fentanyl is poison too. That is terrorism.
The okay, that has nothing to do with politics or trying to put fear in people. So it wouldn't fit the definition of terrorism by any means. But let's pretend it does for a moment. That still doesn't mean that you can just go kill them. Like the idea that like when we were killing terrorists abroad, right, in the Middle East, these were people who were actually coming and like had plans to like blow up buildings or to send people in with vests on that were gonna blow up a bunch of people or to fly planes into buildings and shit like that. This is very very different when we're talking about people bringing drugs into the country. That is insanely different.
Yeah, but it's not just drugs. You're talking about fentanyl. It's not really an actual like real profitable consumer drug. It's literally poison that they're shipping in,
You know that
and
it's a
also
prescription drug, right?
yeah, but drug is something that like alters, like a substance that alters your state of mind,
Fentanyl
and
is a
it's
prescription
like when we
drug.
talk about it in this context, we're talking about like known drugs that are taken for recreational use.
Yes, but
Fentanyl is something
I
that
understand,
people
but
get
you just
poisoned with not
said,
knowing that they're taking it.
yes, you just said though that it's not like a drug that actually has real commercial use, but it does. It is a prescription drug. Like doctors actually prescribe these drugs. So I'm not saying that they're coming to prescribe those drugs, but to just kill somebody over the fact that they had a boat that you think had drugs on it, which again, I haven't seen any evidence that they actually had drugs or that the Trump administration knew who those people were. And from what we understand, they were turning around and going the opposite direction from the United States. So it was no threat to the United States. That, like, none of this says that they were actually any threat to us whatsoever.
Well, they have intelligence that said that they were, and they don't have to necessarily share that with you because that's going to ruin their future prospect of stopping
The
more of them if
the
they
Trump
give away
the
their
Obama
directives.
administration literally had an act that said that they had to report all drone bombings to the public, and it was called the Drone Bombing Transparency Act. Donald Trump got rid of that in his first term and then set
Yeah,
records in
so
drone bombings. And the Donald
right,
Trump
so
and
it's
his
fine, right? So it's there.
hold on. And Donald Trump and his administration have said over and over and over that they are going to be the most transparent presidency of all time. He ran on this. Are you okay with him being a liar and not being transparent at all? Getting rid of transparency?
This transparent in what aspect, in what context, in what way though? You can't just call him a liar because your opinion on not him not being transparent. I mean, there's something about military intelligence here. Come on. You don't just open up the Pentagon.
Well, I think if other administrations were capable of doing this, I think the Trump administration would be capable of doing it as well.
Well, he got rid of that rule because he doesn't want to. He didn't found it's not as effective,
Yes,
and he's doing a great job.
he's not doing a great job. We're going over one of his flaws right now and the fact that he is not being transparent as he promised to be. He said he would be the most transparent while he's getting rid of
Yeah,
transparency that other
yeah.
administrations engaged in.
Transparent in what aspect, what context? Though you don't open up the Pentagon, right? Because that would be transparent. Wouldn't it be
Well,
transparent to just
sure,
show the
sure,
whole
but
world
we
the
can
Pentagon?
no, but we don't have other presidents who have done that either. But we do have other presidents who did report drone bombings.
Yeah, and like I said, he ended that because he wasn't as effective, and
Yes,
he
but
found a better way going
hold on.
forward.
You're skipping back and forth. You
You're
just
talking about
said,
military. You're talking about
hold on.
military intelligence.
Stop. You're skipping back and forth. We're on different arguments. You just said a second ago that it depends on what type of transparency it is, and I said yes. Well, this is
Yeah.
the type of transparency that other presidents have engaged in. And you said, well, it's not like we can just open up the entire Pentagon, and I said no other presidents have opened up the entire Pentagon.
Okay.
So if he's saying he's going to be the most transparent presidency ever, yet he's getting rid of transparency that other administrations have engaged in, he is becoming
Yeah.
less transparent than other administrations.
Sure. Yeah, you're trying to measure an up and down. I'm saying the aspect. All right, you're talking about military intelligence here. I don't think it's good to be more transparent in giving away your military intelligence. That would be a bad thing.
So
So
in
he's
what ways
reducing
are they more
transparency in
transparent?
I think he's a lot more transparent in his economic strategy and the overall macroeconomics of where he's trying to go. Because
How
if
is
you look
that the
at
case?
like
He when they came out with the tariffs, everybody had their own theory on why he was engaging in the tariffs the way that he was. Some people thought that he was trying to crash the economy. Some people thought that he was trying to leverage trade to get more trade into our country. Some people thought that he was trying to make money from the tariffs so that he could put that back into taxes and cut taxes. Some people thought
yeah.
that he was doing it to try to de-inflate the dollar. Like what he did, he wasn't transparent about his plan at all. Nobody knew what he was doing with the
But it could have been
economics.
it could be all of the above, all of those things.
But he didn't say it could be. That's the
So
point. It could be. He wasn't transparent about it. We have no idea what his plan was. He
no,
was not transparent with
no,
this at all.
he totally did talk about how make profits for the country. What do you mean? It was what he's
Well,
talking about
okay,
the entire time.
yes, that he did. You just said it could be all of the above. That's not what they've done so far. They haven't turned around and tried to make profits for the country. He's used it to try to get other
He has.
businesses to
He
come
even
and build
he even
businesses here.
reports numbers. He reports the numbers and the profits that were gained from tariffs. What are you talking about?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't I don't know if you're not listening to what I'm saying or if you're not understanding for some reason. You just said a
Okay,
second ago
let's see.
that it could be all of the above, okay? And now you're telling me,
Yeah.
well, he told us one of these things out of the 5 things that I listed. Well, okay, if you think that it could be all of those things and he's only telling us one of them, that's not very transparent now, is it?
No, I just gave that as an example. I didn't say he's only saying one. I mean, if you want to do an AI search to look up a match for all 5 of your bullet points, fine, we could do that. But as far as I seen, since he's been talking about it from the very beginning, it's had the exact effect that he said it would and that I expected it would. And so I don't understand that this transparency thing where it's like, wow, this big cloud of mystery. It's been doing exactly what he said and what I expected. I don't understand what you're talking about, your perspective at all on this. Hello?
Okay. Again, you said that I know that he hasn't talked about the other things. I know he hasn't. The only thing that he talked about was bringing back jobs and raising revenue for the country. Those are the only 2 things he talked about. He never talked about crashing the economy and trying to make it to where we ended up in a pseudo, what do you call it? Fuck, I'm blanking on the term, where we're like the 2008 crisis, whatever. But yes,
Why would he do that on purpose to ourselves, to our own country? What did he
that
talk?
that was the major theory. That was the major theory. That like if you go back and watch Fox News, if you watch if you watch Fox News, if you watch Money Talks,
why would he do that? Why would he do that? What's the reason? To crash our own economy? Why?
To try to fix how much debt we owed to other countries and raise the like de-inflate the dollar. That was supposedly the idea.
What?
Yes.
That makes 0 sense to me. I don't know. It's news to me. Never heard that. That makes no sense. I don't know.
Well, yes, it was Fox News. It was on Money Talks. It was on Benny Johnson. Okay. It was on like
bizarre. All I got to say is bizarre. But to me, what makes sense is leveraging our position as a trade nexus and the biggest consumer market, and making it an entire way of life. And really profiting from tariffs. I mean, why not? That's what empires have done for a long time.
Well, because tariffs, it depends on what your economy is built on. If we're going to talk about, like, instead of him being transparent about it, but instead the actual strategy, it's because it's a dumb fucking strategy. Our economy is built on prices being low. Our economy is built, we are a consumer economy. Everything is about us buying things. And we have
they have to buy in to get access to our market. That's the whole thing. They got to buy into that to get it.
Wait, hold on. When you say hold on, wait. Hold on, wait. What do you mean they have to buy in? What does that mean?
It's pay to play. You don't just get free access anymore. You have to.
Who are they paying?
Pay the tariff and pardon?
Who are they paying?
We're talking about tariffs, so that means they're paying the state. They're paying America.
Oh no. Okay.
Right?
No, that's not how a tariff works.
Okay.
So a tariff is actually the opposite. So if I run a business and I want to buy parts from China and Donald Trump puts a 50% tariff on China, that means that I have to pay 50% tax to our government in order to get those things from China. Me, the American business owner, I pay the tariff.
Oh, the companies that are trying to ship from overseas, they have to pay a tariff to get it to our market.
No, the Americans who are buying the stuff from the other countries have to pay the tariff. So the whole point is this is why everybody predicted the inflation that's currently happening, is because when the companies buy from another country, our companies here pay for the tariff. And then when they pay for the tariff, well, if they have to pay 20% more, they're going to raise their prices to make up for the amount that they have to buy. But on top of that, they're also likely going to buy less. If they have to pay 20% more, they might buy 20% less now from that other country. So it also hurts the other country's business. What Trump is hoping is that if he raises the prices for how much you have to buy from other countries, that people will instead start companies here. But our economy is like more expensive. It's a lot more expensive to make things here, to buy things here. And so Trump is hoping that that will make it to where their companies that are here will actually become competitive with companies in China, where they can make things for a lot cheaper. And so if he raises it 20%, well, now the companies here will have an advantage on them. That's what Trump was hoping for. But that's like the way that tariffs work. That's the way that they're supposed to be used, is to try to even the playing field. The problem is that we have a consumer economy where everything is based on things being cheap here. So if we make it to where all of our businesses have to pay more for things, we're just raising prices across the board, and we're not actually getting anything out of it, because no company is going to want to actually build all of that stuff here if they still have to order parts, order chemicals, order metals, and all sorts of things from other countries in order to build it here. And they're still going to have to pay tariffs on those things, that it's still going to end up hurting the economy overall.
Okay, well, Chinese importers pay tariffs, right?
They pay tariffs to China.
What?
They pay tariffs to China.
The Chinese companies that are importing to U.S., they pay tariffs.
They pay tariffs to China. They do not pay tariffs to the United States.
Oh, you're saying to China. Okay.
Yes. So if your country is tariffing something, your country, your businesses in your country pay the tariff every time. And then which is why like Canada was upset with this when it came to like dairy products being tariffed, is that they're upset that now if we raise prices 20%, that all of the businesses here that are buying Canada dairy are going to have to pay 20% more to the US government. And so now they're probably going to buy 20% less of Canadian dairy. And so that's going to hurt Canadian dairy business.
Well, some of the markets are worth having a protectionist policy. It just depends on what it is. That's why in a mercantilist point of view, you pick and choose.
But that he's not picking and choosing. He's doing flat tariffs. That's why it's fucked. He was doing flat tariffs. And when you talk about transparency, the guy would come out and say he was putting in place tariffs on this date, and then say, okay, we're not doing it anymore. We're pushing it back 30 days. And then say, okay, we're definitely doing it now. And then push it back 30 days. And all right, we're for sure doing it this time. Push it back 60 days. He did this over and over and over. There was nothing transparent about the tariffs across the board. And he did keep lying to everybody, telling them that the other countries pay the tariffs. There's nothing transparent about this at all. You could take a second if you want to go look it up and see who pays the tariffs. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go look it up yourself. He lied the entire time, telling everybody that other countries pay for tariffs.
Oh, okay. I see. Well, either way, it's still protecting the market, and that's a good policy. Protectionism.
How did it protect the market?
Have all these Chinese imports constantly being flooded into our market. It's ridiculous.
If we're a consumer market, that is what we want. Our country, when we were first getting started, we had a lot of tariffs because our businesses in the United States were small, brand new businesses that couldn't compete with other countries that had been like very established businesses that had been around for a very long time. So we had tariffs back then. But the more that we actually got bigger and bigger, the less we needed tariffs, the more that we wanted cheap prices for our consumers. We wanted our citizens to be paying the least amount possible. And we wanted all of the other companies to come in and compete with our businesses to then bring down prices even more, so that the market was, so that the market was working the way that it's supposed to. Now we're just inflating things for no reason. And it doesn't actually protect anybody. It just raises prices. And then he says, oh, well, but we're bringing jobs back. We currently have a a labor shortage right now. We have too many jobs and not enough workers in our country. So we don't need more jobs. We need the exact opposite. We need more people. But he's deporting tons of people and then bringing in more jobs where businesses are already going under because they don't have enough people to work.
Well, you can't be illegal and work here. That's just a
No,
fact.
I don't have a problem with illegal.
Fact of the law.
I don't have a problem with deporting illegal immigrants. Like nobody's against deporting illegal immigrants. The problem is that he's taking away asylum statuses. He's taking away refugee status. He's taking away green cards. He's taking away visas. He's taking away status from people who are here legally as well. And then even on top of that, the people that he deported to Venezuela and knew that they were deported there while being legal citizens, it took him like 3 or 4 months to get most of those people back. He didn't give a fuck.
You're saying he deported legal citizens, like
No,
actual
no, no. Sorry,
American
not
citizens?
sorry, not citizens. They were here legally. They had visas. They had green cards. They were here on asylum. They were here legally, and they didn't like go through a court process to revoke their status or anything. They just picked them up and kicked them out and put them in a fucking prison in another country.
Yeah. Well, there's migrant worker visas that people can apply to. They don't have to just stay here illegally.
Hold on, I didn't say.
And,
Hold on, hold on. Nothing I mentioned was illegal. Everybody that I just mentioned was legal. I just said I have no problem deporting illegal immigrants. Nobody is against deporting illegal immigrants. You understand that, right? Like, Obama and Biden have the records on deportations. Democrats are not against deportation.
Yeah. Now, you're saying he deported all these legal people. Was it such a huge number that it left us at a workers deficit? How many people is it?
We're already at a deficit, is what I'm saying. We are already at a deficit. We have a labor shortage. We've had a labor shortage since 2020, ever since COVID. We have been in a labor shortage, and I'm trying to get back to the economic aspect of this. Is that the problem is that he makes all of the tariffs about bringing business back to America to create more jobs, which is fine. Creating jobs is fine, but that's not what we need. What we need are people. Like, I grew up a Republican. I was a Republican my entire life. I've always been against illegal immigration, but I'm always in favor of immigration if it's what the country needs. I'm all about giving the country what they want and what they need, what helps us. That's what I'm all about. If we need people, we need to get more people here. But instead of trying to get more people here, he's shutting down the border. He's not accepting new visas. He's taking away visas from people who already have them, and then trying to bring in more business for more jobs. But who the fuck is going to take those jobs? We already don't have enough people for the jobs that we have now.
Yeah, you're making it sound like America is just an economic entity, and you can exchange all these people, from other lands and just integrate them as part of and it's just purely an economic material thing.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that I want to do things based on what America needs. Can you tell me how he's doing that at all? I think he's just telling people he's doing things that he's doing. He might be doing them, but it doesn't help us. It's not beneficial for us at all. I'm explaining how it's beneficial for us to do the exact opposite. Can you tell me how what he's doing is beneficial for what it is that we need in this moment in history?
Well, like I said, the foreign policy is great.
We're talking about economics right now, though. You wanted to talk about this.
You want to talk about domestic economics. I love this trade war with China. This is a decoupling process that we really need to go through. And even if it's painful, it's something that's going to make us more independent in the end.
Why do we need to be more independent?
Because China is literally an adversary enemy. If we go to war, for example, you can't just rely entire industries on your enemy in your enemy's hands. That's crazy.
We don't. China is entirely relying on us. We buy our stuff from them. They get money from us.
Yeah, but
they are reliant on us. we have the two.
not in
Well,
every
hold on.
industry. We got maids, roosters.
We have the two biggest economies in the world: China and the United States. And China, their entire economy is dependent on the United States. Their whole fucking economy. Yeah. Their whole fucking economy. Our entire economy is not dependent on China.
They're like a parasite and leech that we need to cut off.
No, they're not a leech. We need them. We need them for cheaper prices. We benefit from them. Okay, you realize why do you want Americans to pay more? Why do you want to take more money out of Americans' pockets? Why do you want to do that? That seems ridiculous.
I just explained it. It's for security reasons.
What's the security reason?
Go through some pain to decouple with China.
Yes, absolutely. But what is the security reason?
Like putting in entire industries in their complete and utter control. Like
again, no, stop saying that. We just went over this. They are dependent on our economy. We are not dependent on them. We just get benefits from them by getting cheaper prices.
But we like I just said, that's not true for every industry. There's some industries where we are dependent on them, and
so
that's
like what industry?
Problem right there.
What industry are we dependent on?
Like processing rare earth, for example.
Yes, but Biden had already passed the CHIPS Act and was already working on that. That was already something that was in process. That Donald Trump doesn't need to impose tariffs in order to put that into play. That's not relevant at all. So that was already taken care of by Biden. What is another area?
I don't think that just clears the slate on that, what you're talking about here, because it's taken an ongoing concerted effort in many directions in that field. It's not just like, oh, Biden passed this and it's one and done. What do you just get?
What part of the CHIPS Act do you think was not?
Decades of catching up from where the point where U.S. and China were comparatively equal in this field was like all the way back in the early 90s. So we're talking about being decades behind.
The main reason that we've
signed this and when we're done, you got to fight for it. This is not easy.
Yeah, I mean, from my understanding, the main reason that we allowed chips to stay coming from China was to have like some protection for Taiwan, like to make it to where they had some leverage over China, to where China couldn't just come and fuck them up whenever they wanted, because they were a utility for the United States. But Biden already put into place the CHIPS Act, and so hold on,
it was just a huge mistake to begin with.
Hold on. Oh my goodness, bro! I don't care. Hold on, I don't care. I don't care. I've asked you, what is it that the CHIPS Act did not achieve that you think needs to be achieved, or that you think Trump is achieving now?
Oh man, okay. If you want to, like, we're just getting started, man. I think if you really want to take this to its logical final conclusion, in the very end of all this, after we squeeze China economically through every legal process and possible way we can, then we're going to take them to court over COVID and get them in debt for trillions in reparations to the world. And we don't owe them one red penny. We're not going to pay them anything for this debt. And it's going to go to war, and we're going to crush them. And they're going to start it first. You know, they're going to
what? Bro, are you trolling me right now? Are you trolling?
They're going to try to invade Taiwan for sure, very soon. At some point down the road.
But you just said that we're going to go to war with China? You just said we're going to go to war with China?
Do you believe China's not going to invade Taiwan? Because
I didn't say that. I said, do you think, you think we're going to go, I asked you a question. You think we're going to go to war with China?
I hope not, but they will invade Taiwan, and we have to respond.
Okay. I don't know that we do. But the point is that the overall, you haven't brought up anything that attaches to us making our citizens pay more by decoupling ourselves from China. You have nothing you said about the debt, about the COVID, about the chips.
Like,
you did. You literally said that was the goal. You definitely 100% said that was the goal.
It was never about like paying more or less.
No, you said decoupling was the goal. You said decoupling was the goal.
That's an important process. Absolutely. Yeah. Economically, we have to become independent. There's no doubt about it.
Why?
Yeah. And
I keep asking you why.
China,
You're not answering the question. Why? Everything that you listed had nothing to do with why we needed to decouple. Why?
I did answer that question. You asked me that before, and I
You
literally answered
didn't.
it
You
correctly
just
when I
no no
said
no.
it's for security reasons.
No, yes, but you haven't given me any
They're an
security
enemy.
reasons that they're
You
actually.
cannot. I just okay. I told you before, for real. Like I said, that you cannot just have major industries in the hands of your enemy. That's not okay.
Okay, like what? What made like that? I understand that like that sounds good. That sounds good to say, but give me an example
I
of
said
what
rare
they
earth
have.
minerals. So was that what was wrong with that example that I gave
Well,
you
I
when you
said
asked
that
that
we were
before?
already. I said that we were already in the middle of starting to build chips for
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
But
that's not enough. Yeah, not
that
enough. That
that
was a
has
drop in the bucket over
okay okay okay
decades
okay
of being left in the dust.
okay. So that's fine. Cool story. Now that we're already doing that. That has nothing to do with us decoupling from China. That's just like one thing that we're doing. So what other examples of things are there that you think they're going to use against us after we've been like the biggest trading partners in the world for decades? What do
Okay.
you think they're
Well,
going to do to us?
do you realize we're in a cold war with China, or do you not think that we're actually in a cold war?
I'm asking you a question. What do you think they're going to do to us?
That China is going to do to America?
Yes.
That's your question?
Yes, you're saying they're a threat. What is the threat? What is it that they're going to do to us through economics, through trade?
Well, they're a global threat. Their expansion alone is a threat. And they're doing it in African countries where they're doing predatory loans and building infrastructure like airports, and then like basically repoing it when these countries can't pay the debts back. So they're just they're very they're definitely an apex predator
What does that
and
have to do with
an
the United
adversary
States?
in the global scene. There's no doubt about it. Everyone knows we're in a cold war with them. Do you deny that we're in a
I'm
cold war
sorry.
with China?
I don't need you to keep pivoting. What does that have to do with the United States? You keep every time I ask you for examples, you list
When
off
I
a
say
bunch of
we, I'm
things that you
talking about
don't
the
like that
United
they're doing.
States. It's a
Okay, what
proverbial
is
we.
yes, what is it that China is doing to the United States? You just gave me examples of them going into third world countries and engaging in predatory loans. That
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the United States. What are they doing to the United States?
Well, they've been taking advantage of us economically for decades, and
Okay?
to for this is they've been exposed in actual metrics. You know, this
Okay?
is not like something where this has been an even relationship. Are you
Okay,
kidding
so
me?
how have they been taking advantage of us?
Man, just by first of all, the whole if you have to go to the beginning, then you said, "Oh, cool story, bro." But okay, if you want to really talk about this, it's when Nixon opened up to the doors to China, and it was all facilitated by Henry Kissinger through a plan of international banksters like the Rothschilds and all that. China was a backwater that had no business getting on the international stage as they are today. They were built up by international banking to take on all the manufacturing for super cheap that corporate power in America would be able to reap and take advantage. And basically, the lifestyle of middle class America got screwed for it. You know, that our whole culture got ruined because it shipped away all the middle class jobs and manufacturing to China, and we became so relying on their manufacturing power that we don't have any manufacturing power over here. So if we went to war right now, all they had to do is convert all that to wartime material, and we would be screwed.
Okay, so we have a country that is making a bunch of things and they're creating all these things and all their people are working in these sweatshops and they're just nonstop building shit for pennies on the dollar. And then in return, Americans get much cheaper products. We don't have to work these
but that
dangerous
comes with the
sweatshop
price of
jobs.
dependency
We
right there.
don't
Right
have to
there. The
work.
price of dependency
We don't
comes
have
along with
to.
that.
Okay, we don't have to work
Yeah,
these
cheap.
dangerous. Hold on. We don't have to work these dangerous sweatshop jobs. We don't have to work like a third world country
Yeah, but
like a
that's not
lot
a
of their.
concern anymore with
Bro, hold on.
automation.
I need you to. I allowed you to do your whole like Nixon thing. The when it comes to which one of these countries I would rather be, I would much rather be the richest fucking superpower in the world
Yeah.
that pawns off all of its like little shit to all of the other countries to do for them instead of our fucking people doing what it is that the Chinese people are doing in those factories. I don't want our people doing that shit. I want us to benefit from what it is they're doing. They are our Keebler fucking elves. We're over here
Yeah, but
benefiting
it's
from what
gone
it
too
is they're
far.
doing. Okay, how has it gone too far?
It's just because it's come at a huge price. It was. You ever heard of the phrase that good time? What is it? That good time. Um, hard times create hard men, right? And then hard
Yes, of
men
course.
create good times. Good
Do you
times
know
create
how
tough
much
men.
like a shirt costs to make in China versus in the United States?
Yeah, it's cheap. But this cheap this
It's like
this
cents in
getting
China.
addicted,
It's like
getting
minimum
addicted
like $20
to
in the United States.
yeah.
Like
But
this
this
is
addiction to cheap Chinese products has come at a huge cost, is what I'm
okay,
trying
I'm
to
sorry.
say.
Okay, so when you keep saying a huge cost, you're talking about the fact that like middle class Americans are losing out on these little fucking sweatshop jobs that I don't know why the fuck anybody would want to work those
Manufacturing
jobs, but okay,
dependency on
that's fine.
manufacturing
The
in general. Like you just get
this
used to not
the
manufacturing anything for decades. You're going to atrophy. This is not good. America was strongest when it was a manufacturing powerhouse. Don't you agree with that? Look at Detroit.
listen, I'm allowing you to like make all of your arguments, but every single time I start talking, you interrupt me, and if I interrupt you, you can't hear me.
All right, man. I
And
make
so
great points, and you
you
don't want
keep
to answer them.
no, I'm answering them. You don't allow me to answer them. You interrupt and argue against something that isn't even what I'm saying every fucking time. So I don't want our people doing the poor fucking third world country sweatshop jobs. Okay. I want us to benefit from it. Any decision that we ever make should always be a cost benefit analysis. And you're saying, oh, well, we want our middle class to be built up on these shitty jobs that we shipped off over to over other countries because we didn't actually benefit from them and they don't make a whole lot of money for our people. So we want to bring those back and then we want to pay 100 times more per product to where nothing that the people are going to be making in these fucking in these factories is going to make up for how much more they're going to have to pay for things in the end. That there is no cost benefit analysis there whatsoever. That is not benefiting Americans by any means. Oh, he left. What a fucking baby, dude. Did he leave? He did. He just fucking left. He just said, I'm making great points and you just don't want to engage with them. I don't want you to fucking interrupt me the whole time. So that's me just not wanting to engage. All right. This is the most frustrating thing. Okay. So for anybody who ever actually like wants to challenge people, okay. So you come in and you say, hey, it seems like you're not satisfied with the Trump administration. You don't turn around and start telling me why you're satisfied with the Trump administration. If you're actually trying to be honest at all, just the least little bit, the first thing you ask is, well, why are you dissatisfied with the Trump administration? We never even got to my major issues with the Trump administration. We never even touched on them. We never even touched on him because he wanted to come in and tell me all of the things that he likes about the Trump administration that he doesn't even understand, like fucking tariffs and shit like that. He has no idea how that any of that works. But you have to ask me why I'm dissatisfied with the Trump administration at some point in order to actually argue against what it is that makes it to where I am dissatisfied. If all you're going to do is just come in and start telling me why you like the Trump administration, cool story, but that's not beneficial to arguing against what I think. All right. Did anybody else want to jump on?